you share one African dream. Could you please mute your...
Elle a été là-bas avant l'ouverture. On a ouvert quand? Comme 6. Oui.
Okay, so sorry about that. Yeah. So everybody will mention their names. You're just about 11. You mention your name, you turn on your camera, you mention your name, you mention your country, and then you share one African dream. So what kind of Africa do you want? Just one dream that you want for Africa. Okay. So yeah, let's go, Adam. Adam, so you could turn on your camera and unmute yourself and you introduce yourself. Hello. Okay, yeah. Adam, so unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
So why is I have to serve me?
So you mention your name, your country, and then you share one African dream.
Why is it that I have to start with me?
Oh, anybody could start. You raised your hand. You indicated you raised your hand. That's how come.
I was just greeting you. Okay, my name is Adam. Currently, I'm in Ghana. So if they ask me about my country, I tell you West Africa. Because I'm almost everywhere in West Africa.
Maybe.
A dream, I want all the great men we're having. Have a very good one Africa, like Africa unites. So that's what I'm dreaming of. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you are all doing well. Yeah.
Doing great. Yeah. Boubacar. Who'd want to go next? Just introduce yourself. You mention your name, your country, and then you share one African dream.
Yeah. Dennis. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're hearing me correctly.
Yes, we can, Abubakar.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't turn the camera right now. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, good. So this is Boubacar from the Gambia. So what else do you want from me?
Yeah, you share one right? African dream. What kind of dream do you want for Africa? What kind of Africa do you want?
Oh. I would say a dream of an Africa where everybody will have access to quality education, quality healthcare. An Africa where guns will be silent. Yeah, certainly, this is the Africa that I want.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else want to go? One more person, then we'll zoom into the presentation. A lady preferably. Tokozisi, Kadrea. Dwayne, Carol. Oh, Carol is here.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Kadrea. I'm from Djibouti. And one of my dreams for Africa is to be strong, step out of victimization, and yeah, equality, gender. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. You're welcome. Please, if you look into the chat box, you're going to see there's a Google form there. That's the registration form. So kindly hit on the link and just register. It's very important so that we can keep in touch with you going forward. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen now, and a minute. Okay, so I'd like to start by introducing, so this is the Voice1Africa, and this is our first Maiden Convocation, continent-wide. And basically what we're talking about is something that's dear to Africa and to the youth of Africa, right? And currently, if you look at the facts, according to the United Nations, the percentage of African population living under the 25 years within the youth bracket is 70%. And that's about 226 million youth, right? And by 2030, this population is going to get to 1.3 billion. So in the next 10 years, we're going to have about a 1.3 billion youth in Africa. And what does this mean? This is a strategic positioning for Africa. And a strategic positioning for Africa because the world's largest human resource is going to be concentrated in this particular region, right, in this particular place. And it's something that we should be really, I don't know whether to say proud, but then it's something that we should note as a strategic positioning that we have. And but then there are certain hurdles to cross, and one of them is joblessness. And currently, as at present, according to the United Nations, there are about 60% of the youth in Africa without jobs. So if you look at the population, the jobless population, 60% of the jobless population fall within the youth bracket. And that's leading to a lack of confidence among the youth. It's also leading to a lack of necessary skill. And there's also a lack of knowledge on potential jobs and career paths for the youth. And this brought sort of a sense of hopelessness. And from a research that they did, it's led to when people feel hopeless, they feel that there's nothing else to do. So they end up in crime. And we observe that in our countries. So in talking about the youth, let's define who is youth. According to the United Nations, the most critical category of youth is between 14 to 20 years. So technically by this definition, I'm sure most of us will not fall within the youth bracket. But then they also extended it a little. They said that 15 to 24 years also falls within the youth. But as far as Africa is concerned, with the African Youth Chapter or Charter, they said that according to the United Nations, with regard to the African Youth Charter, the youth population is defined as between 15 and 35 years. So that makes some of us within the youth bracket. And there's a call to action. Currently, what we see is that there's a need for mentoring, for mentoring, right? And we are the ones who can help. Our positioning, our exposure, our experience, our knowledge, the networks we have. These are the things that position us as good counselors. And we have so much to offer. Sometimes we think that we do not have enough, but our exposure and the things that we are exposed to, our knowledge, education, and all that we have is enough to help these younger ones. And we have not done much in the past. Africa has not done so much in the past, and there's a time for us to really lead. And why do we need to act now and not later? True independence lies in youth power and not the politicians, right? So if you look at the founding fathers, you realize that they were in their youth when they started pushing for independence for our various countries. And for there to be a progressive Africa, we are looking for a progressive Africa. How do we attain a progressive Africa? We first need to attain a strong Africa. And for Africa to be strong, Africa needs to be united, right? So then the true liberation of Africa is in our unity. The true liberation of Africa is in our unity. And currently, we are even fortunate. We have the luxury of technology. We have the luxury of social media. We have the luxury of numbers. Africa is going to have 1.3 billion people by in the next 10 years. And we have you and I who are committed and have the will and the commitment to see Africa strong and united and progressive, right? So one of the things we've come to understand is that we need to think borderless. We need to think beyond our country scopes. We need to think more Pan-African. We need to think beyond our countries, think more of the collective. And that's how come we'll be able to progress into that kind of space that we want. So talking about Voice One Africa, who are we? What's Voice One Africa about? It's a social enterprise and we're a grassroots organization. We empower African youth regardless of their location. By the word location, we are looking at both the location, whether rural or urban. We're also looking at the socio-economic demographic, wherever the person is, whether the person is poor, rich, middle class, wherever we locate, you reach out to all these people. And one of the themes that we are working with, self-consciousness or identity, right? And the other thing that Voice One Africa stands for is about education. We're into advocacy and youth, ensuring that there is youth involvement in achieving the kind of Africa that we want. So then the vision for Voice One Africa is to have a strong, united, and a progressive Africa. And what kind of Africa? We are talking about an Africa that has an equal voice on the global platform. We're talking about an Africa where dreams come alive for its people. We are here to contribute to the United States of Africa that's achieving the Pan-African agenda that our founding fathers strove for. And for our mission is to empower youth by opening up conversations, right? Exploring the potential of arts, media, and entertainment. So the questions that we're looking at is, how can we encourage and navigate youth toward making their voices heard? How can we explore further the potentials of arts and culture as an expression of the agency of youth? Youth have power, but how can we explore this art and culture to make their voices heard? And to what extent can we leverage the forceps of entertainment industry for employment, unity, peace, empowerment, and development for this continent? And so our mission is to, uncover avenues to adequately address these imperatives, and how are we are looking at arts and culture, music, design, painting, poetry, media, radio, TV, photography, and these are the means that we're going to use. Our products and our services, we said that we are a social enterprise. So one of the things we are coming out with is the vision of Africa. We are sort of casting the vision of Africa from the youth perspective. And so we go out and we're asking people, what kind of Africa do you want? And so this question will lead to a kind of introspection where people sort of look into themselves, and that sense of consciousness of identity will cause an awakening, right? So introspection causes an awakening from within, and that as we become more awakened to the kind of Africa we want, then we can demand it from as politicians, right? And so for our products, this output is one of it. And then storytelling, we publish the dreams of the youth of Africa. And also we'll just sort of channel the energies and the synergies, the experiences of the members of the team. So then we become consultants, we consult and outsource our services. And also research. We work closely with research institutions and civil society and communities to co-produce knowledge towards the Africa that we want. Advocacy is one of the products and one of the services we'll be doing, and we're going to employ varied and sometimes unorthodox means to both discuss or bring to the fore the conversation and also project the voices of the youth. And the using of art is one of the unique ways that we'll be doing this. And then also capacity building for the youth and even for ourselves as well. Social support. We know that most of the youth, as we observed, are unemployed. So means of ensuring that kind of social support, a social system that would empower the youth, and they know that they always have somebody to fall on. So that creating of a mentorship and a trustworthy network is something that we'll be working with as well. Our operations. So the operations of Voice One Africa is going to be like this. There's going to be a community of knowledge practice where we're going to have three major sectors: the public sector, the private sector, and the civil society. And this community of knowledge practice is going to be continent wide. And this is like the top hierarchy, right? And it will lead to guide the agenda for of the education and also the advocacy. Then the community of knowledge practice will also present opportunities, leveraging on their existing interests, the competencies and networks to help us source funds and also reach out wider. There's our overarching principle is a continent to have a continent-wide coverage where we are guided by our positioning as a leading voice for the youth of Africa. So then we represent the interest of African youth, and that's it. So we must be very representative. We have to go down to the community level. And the second is to bridge the research, policy, and practice gaps. So we know that there is a divide within this gap. So we need to bridge it, which is why we're working with the community of knowledge practice. The community of knowledge practice will have lecturers or academics or researchers on board, and they'll have practitioners on board as well. So we'll delve in deep in our discussions. We'll look more into it. The overarching principle, the next one is the African culture, unity, and peace. To attain the Africa we want, we need to deconstruct nationalism and project Pan-Africanism, right? To uphold the collective in contrast to the particular. So basically, we have to actually go in for a Pan-African or a borderless Africa, where we enable youth to learn about our uniqueness or our similarity as Africans through exposure and experience. So one of the things we'll be doing as part of Voice One Africa is to encourage travel. We'll create the avenue for traveling across the various African countries, cross-boundary collaborations in the arts that we do, and things like that, to break that kind of nationalism or particularism, and rather push for the collective, right? And also the inclusive and borderless appeal. We aspire to be truly representative by reaching out to African youth across all boundaries: social, economic, cultural, religious, geographic, right? So that's why we're actually pushing for much representation across the continent. Then the other is to partnership and volunteering. The core of our workforce is going to be volunteer based. We are committed to the service of Africa, and we seek out partnerships towards the collective interest of a strong, united, and progressive Africa. So we'll be working with institutions, existing NGOs or non-governmental organizations, and also private sector. And also we'll be working a lot with volunteers. Our channels of output at the grassroots level, that's the community groups, and we have school clubs. So we'll be setting up community groups and school clubs. We'll have volunteers set up community groups and school clubs where we'll have periodic engagement with the youth in the schools. And also there will be events, conferences, camps, comedy, music, poetry shows, and events. There will also be art exhibitions, paintings, and photography. As far as entertainment and media, movies, will go for movies or have movie nights. Beach parties, will go for walks, cleanups, sports, conversations, TV and radio broadcasts, religious engagements, travel services, holidays and invites. So we're going to have that kind of collaboration, sort of a database that would enable people to um, have sort of a seamless or an easy kind of travel from one country to the other, because we form a network. So it's easy to connect and to have help in whichever country you want to visit, right? And also counseling, career counseling, vision and goal setting, and education. So these are the things that we'll be sort of using to actually reach out to the youth and to make the impact that we are looking for, to hear their voices. In terms of the organizational structure, at the top echelon or the top hierarchy, we'll have the president working with the three continent-wide communities of knowledge practice, right? So the communities of knowledge practice are like the key, I don't want to say, they are more like they give the policy directions that helps to sort of steer the organizations regardless of the level. So we have regional secretariats. The regional secretariat like Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Central Africa, Northern Africa. So these are the regional secretariats. Then we'll have the national chapters. The national chapters will be in every country, and the national chapters will be registered, right? The regional secretariats are not going to be registered. They will be hosted by maybe one national chapter, and will maybe rotate over maybe every 3 years or 4 years to move to a national chapter within that region. And then there will be the community groups and the school clubs. Yeah, so this is the organizational structure. The output of our meeting today would, after discussing a couple of things, we're going to come out with a steering committee that's going to facilitate the operations of all these national chapters, the registration or the operationalization of these national chapters. And we'll also begin maybe a conversation on the communities of practice, and then we'll work on the timelines for the registration of these country chapters and the modalities of setting up. So thank you very much. This is the end of the presentation. So we're going to open the forum for discussion, right? We're going to open the forum for discussion. So please, given the discussion or the presentation I just did, we want to look at the organizational. First, there's an open forum. So whatever question or concern or clarification that you need on this, please, you could ask. If there are any questions, any concerns. Okay, Carol. Yeah, you have to leave. Thank you very much for joining briefly. Thank you. Okay, so are there any questions, any observations, any thing anybody wants to put across? Okay. If there is nothing, then let's have a look at our logo. Let's do that first. Then
someone raised his hand. Dennis, someone raised his hand.
Okay. I can't see any hand.
James. You can't
Okay,
see
so
James's hand.
oh yeah, James. Oh yeah, James. Sorry, yeah, James. Let me hear you. Yes.
Hello.
The line is a bit bad.
Yeah, good morning.
I think James like.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um, Thank you for the presentation, and yes, I'm really impressed on what I've seen so far. And I wanted to know when did Voice One Africa began its operations? I just want to know, and yes, and is it registered so far?
Please come again. Is it registered, and when did it start, or does it want to start operation? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that. So the Voice One Africa in 2019, the end of 2019, some colleagues and I started talking about it from the Young African Leaders Initiative. Um, and so we started discussing it and having a lot of conversations, but we could not follow up with it. And in 2020, the Nkosua Initiative started operationalizing it. The Nkosua Initiative is an NGO. It's a Ghanaian-based NGO that's based mainly into the economic empowerment of youth, right, in Ghana, in West Africa. So we started operationalizing the voice. We were calling the African we want project, right? And so with that, we realized that several other people from other countries were contributing and participating. But then the challenge was the crossover effect, how the project will sort of cut across borders and will be accepted across all countries, which was why we decided to now launch it as a standalone project or entity. And that's how come the Voice One Africa came up. So Voice One Africa as an organization has not been registered yet in any of these countries, right? So, which is why we are having this Maiden conversation, so that we can now set up the modalities for registration in all our countries. Right? I think at present we see Togo, Gambia, Ghana, Djibouti, South Africa, yeah, and also there's Liberia as well. So we are having this discussion now. Then we'll be able to set up the modalities for the registration of the national chapters, right? Right. So this is a very important conversation towards the registration of Voice One Africa and its operationalization. James, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So yeah, sorry, please. You can ask your question.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, my internet, sorry, was not stable, but the part I listened to, you mentioned that it's a social enterprise.
Yes, please.
And we are also going to be involved or engaging in advocacy.
Indeed.
Why don't we focus on one? If we are going for advocacy, we go into advocacy because social enterprise, as you all know, it means that whatever revenue or markup, whatever we get, it has to be plowed back
Yeah.
to the organization.
Yeah.
Normally, social enterprise, they are involved in, let's say, production of goods and services that after the profit, it's plowed back. But the Voice One Africa, I thought it would be solely an advocacy front where we can advocate for the change that we need to see. As somebody has earlier said that he wants to see an Africa where there is quality education, good healthcare, and co. I feel with the advocacy approach or an organization established solely for advocacy, we can attract the needed funding, support, and then utilize the social media to really reach far. When we grow, we can start influencing policies, national policies and co. So, but if we want to combine it, social enterprise activities, if we are not careful, one will supersede, one of the activities will supersede the other. And the task components that will apply, we will have no idea. So that's just a suggestion.
Okay. Sorry, that's really a good one, and it's well noted. In our discussions, anyway, we thought about this, and the concerns were that now most social enterprises, or let me say, most NGOs are heavily dependent on donor funding, and donor funding is quite challenging to secure now. So other ways of generating, or the sustainability plan. So part of our sustainability plan is the kind of things that we are doing. For example, the generation of the outputs from the youth engagements that we have. So we come out with documentaries, we come out with magazines, we come out with the music pieces, the art pieces. All these pieces are going to be on sale. And when we have some of these social events, some of them will be paid, they will be ticketed. So when we say a social enterprise, these are this was the mindsets we had in conceiving or branding ourselves, or saying that we're going to be a social enterprise instead of a solely NGO nonprofits with yeah, but it's well taken. So we are going to factor that in as a team. You are part of the team now. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you, but that I see the examples you've cited as fundraising. It could fall under fundraising. And
Okay.
so we don't need to be a social enterprise before we raise funds. So even if we are an advocacy body, we can come up with very innovative ways of raising funds. But the moment you mention social enterprise, the tax people are coming after you.
Yeah.
In Ghana, it means you are producing something. That is why they will come heavily at you and tax you. And the complexities involved in that, you have no idea. It is really huge. But if you are a non-profit, an advocacy organization, we can raise funds.
Sure.
So that's just a way of suggestion.
That's great. Yeah. So I'm sure the guys have noted it. I've noted it as well. Yeah. So it's great. Yeah. Thank you. Please, are there any more observations? Before we leave here, the things we want to do. Okay, so let's look at our logo. We're just going to select the logo now. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so please, can you see? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the designs we have, and we're going to choose one as our dominant logo. That will be our main representation. Yeah, so the top ones are there. Unfortunately, the designer is not here, so I'd have to do that. So basically, we sent out a communique requesting people to give us an idea of the kind of logo that they think we should have. And from the feedback that came, people were saying that, okay, there should be something of a mic because we're talking about a voice. There should be Africa because it's Africa. And we should have the name Voice1Africa there. So that's what I sent to the designer, and she put this together from Nigeria. Okay, so let's go from the top. This is the first one. We have the dark theme and the white background. Yeah, you can see that. So look at this. We're going to the second one. the second option to, yeah, we have this. And then the third option. Okay. So these are the three options. Let me see. Okay, and this is just a banner. All right, so these are the three options, and let's quickly go through this and let me hear your voices. Which one you think would be really representative, or we should go with?
Please, can you scroll up a bit?
Sure. To the first one.
I mean, like to the first, so that you roll back slowly. Yes,
Okay.
for us to have it.
All right, so this is the first one. So with the first one, we see this green thing. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the first one. We see this green sort of, then we have the yellow here and the mic signifying the voice. And it's time to act. Voice1Africa, one nation, one people, one vision. Same here.
I have a question, please.
Yes, please.
The yellow and the green colors, what is their symbolic meaning?
The green, because we're talking about youth, right? And the youth, we are like the lifeline of the continent. And yeah, and the yellow is for the resources. Yeah, but we're still open. So this is an open conversation, and unfortunately, the designer could not make it. But these were the ideas that came up when we sent out we just sent out messages and asked people, so what kind of design and the output that came, feedback that came, we used to put this together. So we are the ones here. So let's discuss. So that's the first option. And the second option, as you can see, same shape, only that now there's a black indent within the yellow.
And please, do you know what it signifies?
No.
Black.
No.
Okay. In my opinion,
yeah,
I will go for the first one, but not the black background, because there is this perception that everything black is associated with the African continent. And so we will also not have a logo that has a black background. So I'll go for the white one. And with the motto, one nation, one people, one vision, I would have suggested one continent, one people, one vision.
You know, the reason we're saying that, you know, the vision is to have is a Pan-African agenda, right? So to do away with the borders and go for the United States of Africa as a country.
Okay.
So yeah, the long-term vision is to have the Pan-African, the United States of African vision, because the unity of Africa is actually the strength of Africa. And that's what bring us into that kind of progress. Yeah, so that was the mindset and the vision into the motto as well.
Okay.
But this is still open to discussion. So I mean, this was what in our initial discussion, the first steering committee, as we discussed this entire project, this was the vision, and this was it. So yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I would go for the second one.
The second one, let's see. So this is the second one. Okay. Any particular?
Yeah, the second, yeah. Um, I would say, see, since we are African and we want to, we are, yes, since we are Africans and normally we are associated with being like we are the blacks. Since I then I guess that then the black over there represents all of Africa. Yes, so and the sort of, how should I say, a semi, oh, a semicircle, the oval shape, the semi oval shape.
Yeah,
So I would say,
this one.
so that is sort of representing our it's, yes, yes, the vision so we can go with the black or the white. All looks good to me.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Kedra, would you want to also express? Kedra initially mentioned that her option would be the second option, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the second option. The reason was she said the first one looks closely, it resembles the Black Lives Matter kind of um, logo or movement. Yeah, so she would rather go for the second. Yeah. So at present, we have 2 votes for the second one and 1 for the first. Okay, nothing for the third. Okay. All right. Our time is running. For now, what I want us to conclude on is the output. The steering committees. So we have the overall or the continent-wide steering committee, and that's the committee that's going to sort of supervise the national chapters to help establish the national chapters. So there are going to be national steering committees, but because of our number now, so for example, in Togo, Adam, you said you're in Ghana, and Zabdiel, you're in Togo at the moment. So Zabdiel, you're in Burkina Faso. Aren't you going to say anything? Right, so um, for the steering, yeah, Zabdiel, for the steering committee, we're going to set it up now.
Okay, you didn't mention my vote.
Which one was your vote? I didn't see it.
The first one.
Oh, okay.
I sent you a message.
Oh, sorry, I've not checked my phone. I'm sorry. Okay, so Zabdiel also went for the first one. So we have two. I hope the recorders are taking notes. 2 votes for the first and 2 for the second.
Yeah.
Okay. So please, you can let us know so that we'll just decide on it. If you have a vote, and everybody should have a vote. Akbar, and everybody, Laundry, you've not said anything.
Why Akbar is not talking? Akbar used to talk very much when we were at Accra there.
Yes, it's quite, I don't know why. So, yeah. So let's think through the steering committee. So I want to know who wants to be in the steering committee. Our responsibility as the steering committee is going to be to facilitate the establishment of the national chapters, right? So we'll coordinate, we'll basically be in charge of what's happening. Hassan, I'm just joining. What are we voting on? We are voting on the logo. You already have it in your WhatsApp, so you could check first, second, or third. Let us know, then you indicate your vote in the chat. Yeah, so that's the responsibility of the steering committee, and it's so we are currently, the steering committee is going to help establish and facilitate the kind of establishment with the national steering committees or the national chapters. So please indicate if you, Hassan, yeah, you have your hands up. Hassan, you can.
Hello, I will just type. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
But
you.
I'm in the middle of traffic. I'm heading home.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm in the middle of traffic. I'm just heading home. So I'm
Yeah, we
so
can hear
tired. I'm
you.
just leaving one meeting
Mm.
right now. So what I'll just say is that I joined you late. So I didn't know what the vote is on for. I just hear you saying you are voting. So I don't know who I'm voting for. Then I want to say something with respect to that logo. I've seen it. I think you should share some kind of attributes of connectivity of Africa. So I saw one nation, one people, one vision. I didn't see the part that take African as a whole, like maybe one African or one continent or thereabout. That would make it to be like unionism. So that's what I want to say with respect to the review of the logo. Then the one that have the white background, I believe that will be a bit more conform with my own kind of the way I see it. So I'll go for that against the one that have the black background. So I don't know whether you voted on it, but I'll get my own submission to that.
Okay, Hassan, we haven't voted. We are still voting. So, there are three options: first, second, and third. So just look at the three options and you can just write whether first or second or third. We know you want the white one, and we know you want us to include one continent like Asari as well. So we'll consider that. We'll send that to the reviewers. Okay, so yeah, so with the steering committee, please let us know by just, or you could ask a question if you need any clarifications on the steering committee. So the steering committee is the overall, more like, let's say the the committee that's putting all this together to make sure that we have the representation on the ground. Yeah. So please, you can indicate your hand or you can type in the chat, or you could just unmute yourself and communicate whether you want to be part of this or very important body that would be overseeing this work. The other thing is the timelines. So when do you think, like, how long should it take for the national committees, the national chapters to be established in terms of the duration? We are in December now. So what duration should we give ourselves in establishing or registering the national chapters? Yeah, James, you have your hands up, and Hassan as well. So let's hear James, then we'll hear Hassan. Yeah, James.
Okay, so I would like to say, if you could, is it only the steering committee that we will talk about today, or there are other committees as well?
Okay, so the steering committee. The steering committee is the most important because that's the committee that's sort of supervising the entire whatever is happening, right? So that's the other committees are going to be the national chapters, the national chapter steering committees.
Okay.
So yeah, so for Ghana, we are going to have a Ghanaian national chapter steering committee to ensure that the registration in Ghana is done, right? And all the organizational
Okay,
structures
okay,
in Ghana is established. Yeah. But then the overall steering
okay.
committee is making sure that the national chapter, Ghana national chapter is registered, Nigeria is registered, Cameroon, I mean, all the
Sure,
national
sure, sure.
chapters in the continent are registered. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
so
So I will join that committee.
if you want to be part of the national chapter, you just indicate your country. Please, in the chat, just indicate your name and your country, and the recorders will note it, right? If you want to be part of the national chapter, that's going to the National Steering Committee. Bearing in mind that it's not a position, right? It's a responsibility. So as a member of the National Steering Committee, you'll be working Oh, sorry, Londre. But is it better now? So as a member of the National Steering Committee, you're working as a team to make sure that the registration of the national chapter is done, right? Yeah. And also the overall steering committee is going to help with the policy issues. We are going to have another meeting following this. Do we have any? So there are only 3 outputs from today's meeting. Eric, you're welcome from Burkina Faso. You're muted. We can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to join in, and finally I'm here. So I
You're
think
welcome.
everything is all going well there.
Yeah. So please share. You're coming from Burkina Faso. Just share one African dream. What dream do you have for Africa?
The dream I have for Africa is Africa that is really peaceful. In my country, a big challenge, 2015. We've been experiencing tourism in Burkina Faso. In some part of the country is always attacked by terrorists. And, even we just have a presidential election recently. And in those parts of the country that are really attacked by terrorists, there were no election there, So the dream for me, my dream for Africa is really peace for Africans, because if there is no peace, nothing can be done. So currently, not everywhere, in some countries, we need peace. So the African dream for me, for the time being, is freedom and let's say peace. Yeah.
That's a powerful one. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Right.
Yeah.
So please, that if you look into the chat, you see the registration form. Please complete the form. Just hit the link, and it's a simple form to complete for the registration. So then. Hi everyone. So currently, the 3 outputs that we need to establish a timeline for the registration of national chapters. And what we were having in mind is, say, by mid next year, but I don't know whether it's too long or it's too far off or it's too close. But yeah, because as far as the project is concerned, we've already begun talking to people about their African dreams, and the youth are sharing it. If you Google, if you just you Google hashtag Voice1Africa, you see a lot of the videos and the images that are out there already from different countries and from youth across the continent. So I don't think maybe it should take us too long to do these registrations. I think that what the core thing will be the executive body, and which is why the steering committee needs to be set up. The steering committee is going to come up with the policy or the terms of reference or what kind of person should be on the executive body. So for the executive, we're looking at, in our conversations, we were thinking that it would be good to have a maximum of, say, 4 people, right? So maybe 3 of them are the executive directors who are directly involved in the operations of the national chapter, right? And then we'll have maybe 1 or 2 people who are more of advisory. And those people, the advisory persons, will be people who have experience either in academia or research, and also in practice, because we are using arts media as a channel. So we need people who have experience in these areas to be able to help in terms of also using their networks and their connections and also the knowledge, the experience they have, right? So that's the idea that we have. And I'm putting this across so that if there are other suggestions, we could take them. But today we need to at least have, we'll leave at 9:30. So it's just 11 minutes to the end of the meeting, and would like to have us volunteer to join either the main steering committee or the overall steering committee that's going to facilitate with the several national chapters, or the national steering committee. Okay, but then what do you think about the initiative generally?
Can I talk?
Yes, please.
I think it's a good one. Now, for me, the challenge will be in the operationalization of the initiative. How we going to settle this and make it work? Because what I think personally about NGOs is there are plenty NGOs in Africa Association, uh, which has been working for many years, and they are not achieving their goals. Many of them. It's true that some of them are really working, but many of them are just raising funds and just I can say they are not digging very deep into issues to find the solutions, the real solutions of those issues. So if we want to do this, I think for me, I understood is we we are more we will be more like people like we playing journalist roles, like saying or making ring what people are thinking about, make it go to the world. So uh, everything will be in the organization and what we will do as activities, which will impact really our communities, even the chapters, national or international. So everything will be about that. But the idea is really good, and I want to uh, congratulate you because as far this is the first initiative I think which come out of the meeting or the training we had in Yali, and it's a good one. I really appreciate it, and what I can bring on board, I will.
Sure, Zab. Thank you so much. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah, it's actually our vision, man. Because with the operationalization, what we in our discussion. So for the first 2 years of our operation, our core objective will be to generate enough vision from the youth of Africa. So we have our cameras, we have our phones, we talk to people, people are sharing. So what kind of dream do you want? What kind of Africa do you want? So the more people are sharing, the more people share the kind of Africa they want, the more awakened they become. At the end of the 2 years, maybe mid-year, we're going to have a report. We're going to do a content analysis. So this is why we have the community of knowledge practice, because there's going to be the research component where we'll do a content analysis or analyze the the entire vision that we have sourced from across the continent, and we will publish it as both a journal, a research journal, and also as a document with images, right? Images and why people, for example, someone said, yeah, here in South Africa, someone said she wanted an Africa where there's inclusive in terms of economy, right? People can, the rich, like money can be easily accessible to everybody. You should not necessarily be in Cape Town to have enough money to fend for yourself. Wherever you are in South Africa, you should be able to be okay, right? And so if we are after we've done several of these interviews and we have a lot of data, what we'll do is to do an analysis, a content analysis, come up with the themes, and we generate stories out of them. And these are going to, it's going to come out as a publication with the pictures are there, the stories are there, and this publication we will sell, right? So it will be a fundraising mechanism, like Asari was saying earlier. And also, it also puts the voices of the youth of Africa, and this is condensed. This is not only South Africa or Ghana or Nigeria or Togo, it's all across the continent. And we've put it together and it's going out there. And with these kind of details and kind of information and this thing that we have, we can actually approach the African Union and actually push for some of these incorporations, because we'll be able to find out, we're planning that maybe from our next, I mean, my conversation with Mr. Van Dyke, he was going to be part of this meeting, but they're having a training in the northern region. So, and there's internet challenges there. So that's how come he couldn't join. So he was saying that in our next meeting, we could invite someone from the AU to give us a presentation on the Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want. And because a lot of people are not aware of it. From our conversations, talking to people about sharing your African dream, many are not aware of the Agenda 2063. And so this is even our operation as Voice1Africa pushing for the realization of Agenda 2063. It's actually something that we are doing to facilitate the work of the African Union. And we are likely to even get some funding from there to push this sensitization as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Please, if you have any further comments on, so for the first 2 years, it's just going to be talking to people to share their dreams, share your dreams, share your dreams. And that's it. And we don't need money to do that. We don't need money to urge people to share their dreams.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Actually, it's like one of the projects we have in internship, entrepreneurship track, but not like this one. We planned. It was an idea of say Jasper, who suggested to us to come out with a website where we can broadcast stories, success stories of African entrepreneurs. But this one, I think this is a good one. So maybe we can think also for a website, apart using the social media to broadcast this story, because I think if we started this and we create an Instagram account and Twitter and all those sources on all those social media, and we take on ourselves to record those wishes of people around us in our community, and everybody from the several countries we have here send their content and we broadcast them on those accounts, I think it will blow, because it will be like you say, it's storytelling. And every time when people, and most of the time if they are anonymous, tell their stories, people like that, and they are empathic to them. So I think it will work. And if we started small like this, without needing necessary funds to do that, I think it's a good thing, and we will see people who really want to be involved in this, because it will be also that advocating, engage really in the initiative, and uh, do what we are supposed to do as leaders. So I am 100% on this initiative, supporting this.
Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, we are in this together. So we actually started with the website. We, currently, we have social media accounts on all the social media: Twitter, Facebook, um, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and it's just Voice One Africa. So if you Google Voice One Africa, you should get it. And so I'm just going to show you our website. It's under development, and it's a partnership with one SME. So if you just come to Voice One Africa, if you Google or you type voice1africa.org, this is where it will bring you. And he's still developing it. So you go to the home, and it's time to act. We are the key to unlock potentials and dreams. And some of the videos from our YouTube channel. No, the project initially started as the Nkoso initiative. That's why you have this. But the new ones we are generating have the Voice One Africa. So
undoubtedly, Africa has a lot of natural talents that we should be able to develop. So the kind of Africa I want is the one that would have tapped into all the natural resources we have available. Because I feel like the Western world is able to tap into the natural resources we have. That's why they are thriving. The industries are not going to thrive if they don't have the natural resources to work with. So the natural resources are here. So why don't we also tap into the natural resources and industrialize? Then we can also build like the Western world is doing. Now that's the kind of Africa we should have. That's what our leaders should try and tap into. That's the kind of Africa.
yeah, so that's our website. We have our mission, our vision, and so it's still under development. Our vision, we're here to encourage, navigate youth. It's under development, the vision. So yeah, this is ongoing. From our side, we are doing everything possible to be able to set in terms of the technology bit, the website, social media accounts, and everything. What we need now on the ground is to get the people. So currently I'm in Cape Town, and Mtoko is here. He's also in Cape Town, and we've had a conversation, and he's actually excited about it. Are you going to say anything, or you're just going to listen? Hello, Toko Sisi.
Oh, hi, how are you?
I'm great.
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna listen for now.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So, how to be able to set up? So, in Cape Town, in South Africa, collaborating with a couple of people, he included, and others, and we'll have it established here. We'll have the organization registered here, and we'll go on with the generation of the content, talking to people to generate the kind of Africa they want, and we'll just populate the same. Our YouTube channel regardless of the countries, we are just keeping one YouTube channel. We are just keeping one social media and one website. So everything is going there, whether it's in French or it's in Spanish or whatever, Portuguese. I know in some part of Africa they speak Portuguese, but so regardless of the language, everything is going into the same website and the same YouTube channel, so that we'll be able to create the traffic. I'm going to share the social media details with you all so that you can go on. So following here, my belief is that those of us here would want to be part of the steering committee. Um, that's the steering committee that's going to see to the establishment of the national committees, like generally seeing to the establishment of this project. The closing time is, we have 6 minutes. We'll be ending in 6 minutes. In 6 minutes time, yeah. So, guys, are we on the same level?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Andre, James, thank you. Akbar, no word from you today.
James, I am on board.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Zap.
Yes, Eric also is here.
Okay, Eric. Thank you.
Hello, Joseph.
Yeah,
Hello, do you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Really happy to see you all.
Yeah.
So I really got here when Eric joined. So I didn't really follow everything that you said, but I do appreciate everything that you said, and I think I will be part of the project because my dream for Africa, because I heard that you want us to share our dream. So my dream for Africa is to have a society where young people are really put in the light, where young people really take the lead. So I think this is a project where young people will share their dream, and together we will work to achieve those dreams. So I will be part of the project.
That's great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
That's beautiful. Guys, so I guess we are coming to a close. We're bringing this meeting to an end. We're going to have another meeting, and that meeting will be a closed one. It will just be the steering committee, and we'll bring, maybe if Mr. Van Dyke is back to Accra by then. Hi, Nada. Hello, Nada. Hello, Nada.
Hello.
Yes, so we are just about closing, but you're welcome. So please share your name, your country, and one African dream.
My name is Nada. I'm from Ghana. My African dream is that we'll be united. We'll have one vision and that is to ensure peace and stability.
That's great. You're welcome. Yeah, so we're just about closing. We've decided that we'll have another meeting. Generally, I think the discussion has been fruitful. There's been recommendations that we are going to take on board. And we're saying that please fill the form. If you click, you check the chat, you see a registration form, just fill it so that we can get your details. So what we're saying is that we're forming a steering committee that's going to see to the registration of Voice1Africa in all the countries that are represented here today, right? As the other countries join, we'll be registering the initiative in those countries as well. But today we have about five or six countries represented, and we would register. The steering committee will see to it that it's registered in these countries. Yeah, and so thank you very much for joining, everybody. If there is any question, anything, you can shoot now. Otherwise, we're closing in 2 minutes. Okay, yeah, Nada. Nada, we see your hand.
I think I didn't raise up my hand.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much, guys. So we'll communicate the next meeting time. And cheers.
Okay, cool. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.